For Eric J on Sports, I'm Eric J, and this is what I think. WWE Survivor Series is coming up soon, and whenever the Survivor Series happens, it makes me think about Major League Baseball. And I know you're probably thinking why that doesn't make sense, but hear me out for a second. In the old days of Major League Baseball, there were two leagues. There was the American League and the National League. And the only times those two leagues faced off against one another was either in the World Series or in the All-Star Game. And the All-Star Game was the treat because everybody got to see their favorite players face off against their favorite players from the other side. Willie Mays is on one side of the field. Mickey Mantle is on the other side of the field. You've got American League pitchers pitching against the greatest National League hitters, and you've got National League pitchers pitching against the greatest American League hitters. And baseball fans always wondered, how would my guy fare facing that guy? And unless both teams made it to the World Series, you would never know except for the All-Star Game. But Bud Selig, the owner of the Milwaukee Brewers, became the commissioner of baseball, and he had a weird idea. Why don't we end these debates and create interleague play? That way, the National League teams would face off against American League teams all the time. Well, that's fine for revenue, but it kind of destroys the mystique of the All-Star Game and the World Series when you've got teams facing each other all the time. But then Bud Selig had another brilliant idea. He decided, since the teams face each other all the time, let's make the All-Star Game mean something. So the winner of the All-Star Game, whichever league won the All-Star Game, that league would have home field advantage in the World Series. And if you're a fan of team sports, then you know home field advantage in a 7-game series means you get the first game in your place and you get the last game in your place. And that matters because sometimes, just like in wrestling, the crowd can be the difference between winning and losing. So how does this relate to the Survivor Series? Well, let me explain. WWE likes to have you think that their two brands, Raw and SmackDown, are entities independent of one another. Raw is Raw, SmackDown is SmackDown, the red brand and the blue brand. They do have drafts and trades and wrestlers move around, but Raw is Raw and SmackDown is SmackDown. However, you often see Raw talent on SmackDown and you often see SmackDown talent on Raw, especially during the time of the Survivor Series, when you see people crossing over back and forth all the time. And how this relates to the Survivor Series is this. Since WWE would have you believe that the two brands are independent, they've set up the Survivor Series so that there's a series of matches. World Champ against Universal Champ, Raw Tag Champs against SmackDown Tag Champs, U.S. Champ against Intercontinental Champ, Women's Champ against Women's Champ, and then there's the two 5-man teams, and then the two 5-woman teams that compete against one another, brand against brand. And that's fine. But what's the point? What's the purpose? What does it mean? Why do this if you're going to have people bouncing back and forth between brands all the time? It doesn't seem to have a purpose. So I was having a conversation with a really intelligent wrestling fan, and he gave me an interesting idea. He said, why not make the Survivor Series like Major League Baseball's All-Star Game? In that whoever wins the most inter-brand matches gains some sort of advantage for their brand. And I thought, what advantage would they want? Could you say, okay, whoever wins the brand matches is going to get the main event spot in WrestleMania? That would only be valuable to the champ and his competitor. But if Raw wins the Survivor Series and they get the main event spot at WrestleMania, if Raw's champ is, say, Big E, and SmackDown's champ is, say, Roman Reigns, there's no way that WWE is going to put Big E in the closing match and put Roman Reigns in the opening match. So let's try something else. The winning brand clinches the number 30 spot at the Royal Rumble. Not a lot of people win the Royal Rumble from the number 30 spot, so is that really an advantage? And then if you win that spot for your brand, who gets the spot? So we talked some more, And we came up on an idea that we both agreed would be something that the brands would be willing to fight for. You have your inter-promotional matches, champ against champ, everybody's fighting each other, and then you have your 5-on-5s. The winner of the most brand matches, or in particular, the winner of the 5-on-5s, whether you do it as whoever wins the most brand matches or whichever brand wins the 5-on-5s, either way, that brand gets the only Money in the Bank matches at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view in July. Which means that if you've got World Champ, Women's Champ, Tag Champ, Secondary Champ, 5-on-5 matches, if you've got all these matches, you figure out a way to make there be an odd number of matches. And then the winner of the most matches, whoever wins at least, say 4 of the 7 at Survivor Series, that brand is the only brand that has Money in the Bank ladder matches at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. That way, brand loyalty matters. It's like the All-Star game. Raw wins the All-Star game vis-a-vis the Survivor Series, and then you only get Raw talent in the Money in the Bank match. SmackDown wins the Survivor Series, then you only get SmackDown talent in the Money in the Bank match. And that way, guys on Raw who were looking at the Money in the Bank match as an opportunity would be willing to fight for the opportunity. Now, hold on. I understand that professional wrestling is not, watch me do air quotes now, real sport. I understand that. I understand the outcomes are predetermined and the winners are selected by the booker or the boss. The boss in this case being Vince McMahon. I get that. But at least Survivor Series wouldn't be just another show that gets rolled out every November with the same storylines. You got champ against champ against champ against champ against champ against champ 5-on-5. You would think as a fan that, like the rating system in AEW where everybody's actual one-loss record matters and guys become number one contender by winning matches or by winning a tournament, in WWE, Survivor Series builds to another show, just like the Royal Rumble builds to WrestleMania. And because once you win the Survivor Series, your brand gets the advantage at Money in the Bank, then once Money in the Bank happens, then your brand is built to another show. And even if the Money in the Bank winner gets drafted to another brand, you still got that one guy who won Money in the Bank and he's carrying it to wherever he wants to carry. It makes it mean more than just a series of random matches between shows that have no real purpose. I might be interested to see if WWE would consider something like this, because it would give the impression that things matter beyond, okay, you're putting Roman Reigns in a match with Big E. You're not going to let Big E beat Roman Reigns because Roman Reigns is your cash cow. So what do we do in this match? It would be bigger than, okay, maybe Big E wins because Xavier Woods interferes, because Xavier Woods is actually feuding with Roman Reigns and the Usos. It would be bigger than that. It would be, which brand is going to get Money in the Bank? Will it be Raw or will it be SmackDown? And then you have your Universal Champion and your World Champion actually fighting each other to see who's going to get a shot at them down the line to try to sneak in with the title from them. So if you're Roman Reigns or if you're Big E, do you actually go all out to try to win the match for your brand? Or do you not go all out and not really try to win the match for your brand because you want the other guy to have his brand win Money in the Bank and have the other guy have somebody from his brand try to sneak him with a briefcase and steal his title? That makes it a little more intriguing, I think. And I think it'd be a little more interesting for all involved, the wrestlers as well as the fans. Might be something to think about. And that's why this is what I think. Remember to like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. And follow me on Facebook at Eric J on Sports One and on Instagram and Twitter at Eric J on Sports. And for Eric J on Sports, I'm Eric J, and this is what I think.